I'm not sure where or when this cake started out. I know that it's old. I know that my mom used to make it for potlucks in the 60s and 70s. It was probably even before that. Who knows? What I do know, and I can tell you, is that this is probably the one easiest cake in the entire universe that's 100% from scratch. Crazy easy. It takes just minutes to put together, and you don't even need a mixer. So what you're going to need is you're going to need 3 cups of sugar. You're going to need 2 cups for the cake and 1 cup for the topping. You're going to need 2 cups of flour, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1/4 cup of sour cream, a 20-ounce can of crushed pineapple. The original recipe says in syrup, but that's really hard to find now, so this is just crushed pineapple in juice, and you're not going to drain it. You're going to need a tablespoon of rum, and that's one thing that my mom's recipe has that I haven't seen anywhere else. A cup of coconut, a cup of pecans, a 1/2 cup of butter, and 3/4 cup of heavy cream. And I think that's it. So we're going to set the stuff for the topping aside because we're not going to need that right now. I'm going to take a tablespoon of the juice out of the crushed pineapple. And I'm just going to throw that away or drink it. And then I'm going to replace that with a tablespoon of the rum. So we take a tablespoon of the juice out, and then we can add the tablespoon of rum without changing the amount of liquid. Into a very large bowl, very large, we're going to throw the 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and the sugar. And you don't have to do this, but I like to go ahead and mix that up just to make sure that the baking soda gets completely stirred in and there's not lumps of it somewhere, because there's really nothing worse than biting down into a piece of baking soda. Yuck. Okay, get that stirred up. Now all we have to do is add crushed pineapple, messy, the rum, the sour cream, and the egg, which I am going to beat before I put in there. I probably should have done that already. You don't absolutely have to beat them before you go in there, but before you put them in there, but I like to make sure that everything goes in smoothly and evenly, and beating the eggs will help with that. Meanwhile, I've got the oven preheating at 350 degrees. All right, we put the eggs in. And I'm just going to stir this right up. Told you it was easy. This came to 4th of July picnics and church suppers and family get-togethers and just everything. So many good memories with this cake. You want to make sure that you keep scraping the bottom so that you get all of the flour mixed in. And it goes together just that easy. Now I've got my 13 by 9 inch pan, and I'm just going to spray it so nothing sticks. And then all of this goes right in the pan. You actually could probably mix this right in the pan and save yourself a dish, but I just think it's easier to mix it in a bowl. And we're going to smooth that out. And this cake goes in the oven at 350 for 30 to 40 minutes. In the meantime, while that's baking in the oven, we're going to go ahead and toast the pecans. Now, you can toast them in the oven if you do it ahead of time, but I didn't. And I'm just gonna quick toast them in the microwave. I like to chop them up before I toast them so that way more surface area gets toasted. But you can toast them whole and then chop them up afterwards if you want to. I don't know exactly why or how this recipe became known as Texas tornado cake. Maybe somebody was making it during a tornado. Maybe it's because it's so fast and easy to throw together. I don't know, but it is absolutely delicious, and I hope you try it because it's so good. Okay, we've got the pecans chopped up, and I'm just going to put them in a glass pie plate in a single layer. And I'm going to put those in the microwave on high for about 2 minutes. I'm going to stop after a minute and stir it. And then at the 2-minute mark, I'm going to stop and stir it. And then I will probably, if it still needs to be toasted more, I will do it in 30-second increments and stirring after each time. You want to toast them until they're crunchy and they smell good, but you don't want them to scorch or burn. About 10 minutes before the cake is done, we're going to put the cream, the sugar, and the butter in a saucepan. There's the cream. There's the sugar. And there's the butter. Don't even have to melt it. Turn your stove on. And we're going to cook this until the butter is melted and the sugar dissolves and it starts to thicken. And you're going to want to stir it, I want to say constantly, but obviously until the butter melts, you don't need to like be constantly stirring, but stir it often. Because, you know, when you've got any kind of dairy and sugar, it can scorch to the bottom really easy, and you don't want that. So stir it often, make sure that you get in all of the corners. And I usually start out with a whisk and then switch to a spoon. Once the butter is melted, you're going to cook and stir for about 5 minutes or until this mixture simmers and thickens. And at this point, you are going to want to stir it constantly. After about 5 minutes, or maybe a little bit more, it's going to come to a simmer. I've actually let this go to a boil. But you want it to thicken up so that it's not super thick, but it will kind of, let's see, coat the back of the spoon. Ooh, that was hot. And if you can see that. So the reason that you don't want it to be too thick is because it's going to soak down into the cake, but you want it to be thick enough that it does glaze the coconut and pecans. So once you have it about the consistency of pancake syrup, then you're going to want to go ahead and dump in your coconut and your toasted pecans. And then just stir that up. Go ahead and turn the heat off. And this part of it is done. Doesn't that look good? It's similar to a topping on a German chocolate cake, but not quite the same. The cake's done. You can tell the middle is solid. It doesn't really bounce back because this cake is so moist, but if you put an instant read thermometer in the middle, it'll come to about 190 to 200 degrees is about right. Now what you're going to do is you're going to poke holes in it, and you can use the end of a wooden spoon. Personally, I prefer the end of a wooden chopstick because the holes are smaller. I don't like those big giant holes in it. And you just poke it pretty, ouch, just put my arm down on the edge. You poke it pretty evenly because you want the glaze or the frosting or whatever to run down in there. Once you get all the holes poked in there, you're going to put on the glaze, and you're just going to spoon that on and spread it as best you can. This isn't a thick frosting. This is just a glaze that goes over the top of the cake and kind of holds the coconut and pecans together. And you have to kind of work quickly because it will soak into the cake while you're putting it on. You want it to get all the way to the edges. And literally, y'all, that's all that it takes to make this cake. Now you're gonna let it set for at least 5 minutes, which is, trust me, hard to do. And then it's gonna be ready to serve. It is literally that easy. But if you wanna make it ahead, it's fantastic the second or even the third day. It stays moist, it stays delicious. I'd go ahead and refrigerate it after 24 hours, just because of the stuff that's in it. But there you have it. That's it. Perfect for potlucks, perfect for parties, get-togethers, family dinners, all summer long. You're gonna love this. Okay, y'all, this is so moist that you can literally just cut it with a spatula. And we're just gonna go right across it like this. And then down like this. And then lift that piece of warm, gooey cake right up. You can see how moist and gooey it is and hot and sticky. And I'm gonna put that right on this plate. Absolutely perfect. Well, y'all, I wasn't kidding. This is the easiest cake in the history of the universe, I swear. And it literally evaporates at picnics and potlucks. It goes so fast. People are gonna be asking you for the recipe because it is just so addictively good. Look at this moist cake. The pineapple, the sugar syrup, the pecans, the coconut. It just looks so good. I know you're gonna love it. I hope you try it. Hope you love it. Hope you'll come back next week, okay? Go ahead and be sure to subscribe, leave a thumbs up and a nice comment, and I will see y'all next week. Love y'all. Bye-bye.